We're constantly just swimming in new information, right? But how do our minds actually sort through all that noise to get closer to what's real? Today, we're going to dig into something called Bayesian belief updating. It's an incredible mental model for thinking more clearly and, honestly, more rationally.
So to get started, you can really think of this in terms of two different ways of thinking. On one hand, you've got what's called the soldier mindset. Its main job is to defend what you already believe no matter what. But on the other hand, there's the scout mindset. The scout has a totally different goal, to go out, map the world, and see what's actually there. And it's that scout mindset we're going to focus on cultivating today.
Okay, so how does a scout actually update their map of the world? To get our heads around this, we don't need any complicated math just yet. Let's just start with a super simple thought experiment.
Okay, picture this. You're just sitting at home, minding your own business, and from the room right next to you, you hear that unmistakable sound of hoofbeats.
Now, the question is simple. What animal is making that sound? And, just for the sake of the argument, let's say it has to be either a horse or a zebra. What's your gut tell you?
Your brain almost instantly jumps to horse, right? And why is that? Well, because your initial belief, what we're going to call a prior, is based on everything you already know about the world. Horses are pretty common. Zebras in your neighbor's house, yeah, not so much. Your prior confidence that it's a horse is super high.
But then you get a new piece of evidence. You listen a little closer and you realize, that sound, it could actually be perfectly consistent with either a horse or a zebra. The sound itself isn't really pushing you in one direction.
So, what do you believe now? Well, the possibility that it's a zebra has definitely gone up. It's not zero anymore. But, and this is the important part, because your initial belief in horse was so incredibly strong, it's still the most likely explanation. You've simply updated your belief with this new info. You haven't just thrown out everything you knew before.
And you know what? That little zebra story perfectly captures the formal process of what's called Bayesian inference. Seriously, you can think of it like a recipe for updating what you believe, and it's got three main ingredients.
First up, we've got the prior. This is exactly what it sounds like. It's your belief before you see any new evidence. In our story, that was the very strong belief that the animal was a horse.
Second, there's the likelihood. This is the new data, the new evidence you observe. For us, it was the sound of those hoofbeats, which, remember, was equally likely to come from a horse or a zebra.
And finally, that all comes together to give you the posterior. This is your new, updated belief after you've combined your starting point with the new information. Your posterior belief was that, yeah, it was still probably a horse. You were just a little less sure than you were before.
So really, it all just boils down to this incredibly simple mantra. Your new belief is just a combination of your old belief and whatever new evidence you come across. It's such a simple but really powerful way to look at the world.
And for those of you who like to see what's going on under the hood, this is the engine that drives it all. It's called Bayes' theorem. It's just a formal way of saying that your new posterior belief is proportional to the likelihood of the evidence multiplied by your prior belief. This is basically the mathematical recipe for updating your beliefs rationally.
Okay, so let's actually see what this looks like. Let's visualize this process and see how it takes us from being really uncertain about something to having a lot more clarity.
So we can think of our beliefs as being spread out over a range of possibilities. When we're just starting out, our prior is often really uncertain, looking something like this wide, spread-out curve. We're kind of saying, the truth is probably somewhere in here, but I'm not really sure where.
But then we go out and collect some data. That's our likelihood. And that new evidence lets us update our belief. And just look what happens. Our new belief, the posterior, becomes this sharp, narrow, much more confident distribution. We've seriously narrowed down the possibilities. And seeing them together like this, it just illustrates the whole thing perfectly. We go from that broad, uncertain prior to a much sharper, more confident posterior. That transformation is the scout mindset in action. It's the journey from, I think it might be somewhere around here, to, okay, now I'm pretty sure it's right here. And this, right here, is the key takeaway. Using a framework like this isn't about being right from the very beginning. I mean, nobody is. The real goal is just to have a reliable way of becoming a little less wrong with every new piece of information you find.
So, what does this all mean for us in our day-to-day lives?
It really means learning to hold our beliefs just a little more lightly, separating what we think from who we are.
Here are a few ways to actually practice this. First, start treating your beliefs as priors.
They're just your best guess for right now, not some permanent truth. Second, when you find evidence that goes against what you believe, try not to see it as a threat. See it as a golden opportunity to update your map. Third, get a sense of how confident you actually are in something. Are you 95% sure, or is it more like 55%? And finally, just get comfortable with the idea that your beliefs should be a little bit fragile, always open to being revised when good evidence comes along.
And you can never forget this crucial little loop. The updated belief you form today, your posterior, well, that just becomes the starting point for tomorrow. It's the new prior you'll use when you run into the next piece of evidence. It is a continuous, beautiful cycle of learning and refining.
So I'll just leave you with this question to think about. What is one thing you believe very strongly right now that might just be a prior waiting for the right evidence to come along and help you see the world just a little more clearly?